Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Ballava Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Ballava Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Shamunatira Vanachari Shamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Chana Ballava Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Shamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada ki jai. Lost our online. Oh, we're online. Okay, I don't know why it disappeared for a moment. So, we're reading today from the Srimad-bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 5. We're on text 37, but there are several verses that don't have purports. So we'll chant the verse for 37, and then I'll just read the translations for the next verses, and then the purport for 43. We're getting this will take us almost to the end of the chapter. Pranada Buddhasha Chara Chara Charanam Pranasaho Balam Ajoshas Chavayu Anvasma samrajam ivanugavayam. Prasidatang na sa mahavibhuti. Pranada buddhyasya characharanam. Pranasaho balam ajoshascha vayu. Anvasma samrajam ivanugavayam. Prasidatang na sa mahavibhuti. Pranada buddhyasya characharanam. Pranasaho balam ujascha vayu. Anvasma samrajam ivanugavayam. Prasidatang na sa mahavibhuti. Pranada buddhyasya characharanam. Pranasaho balam ujascha vayu. Asmasma samrajam ivanugavayam. Prasidatang na sa mahavibhuti. Pranada buddhyasya characharanam. Pranasaho balam ujascha vayu. Anvasma samrajam ivanugavayam. Prasidatang na sa mahavibhuti. Word for word synonyms. Pranat, from the vital force. Abhut, generated. Yasha, of whom. Chara acharanam, of all living entities, moving and non-moving. Pranaha, the vital force. Saha, the basic principle of life. Balam, strength. Ojaha, the vital force. Cha, and Vayu, the air. And Vasma, follow. Samrajam, an emperor. Eva, like. Anugaha, followers. Vayam, all of us. Prasidatam, may be pleased. Naha, upon us. Saha, he. Mahavibhuti, the supremely powerful. All living entities, moving and non-moving, receive their vital force, their bodily strength, and their very lives from the air. All of us follow the air for our vital force, exactly as servants follow an emperor. The vital force of air is generated from the original vital force of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. May the Supreme Lord be pleased with us. Repeat after me. All living entities, moving and non-moving, receive their vital force, their bodily strength, and their very lives from the air. All of us follow the air for our vital force, exactly as servants follow an emperor. The vital force of air is generated from the original vital force of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. May the Supreme Lord be pleased with us. So there's no purport for this one. And for the next several verses, so I'm going to read the translations for the next several verses, and hopefully we'll have some time to talk about the purport. May the supremely powerful personality of Godhead be pleased with us. The different directions are generated from his ears. The holes of the body come from the heart, and the vital force, the senses, the mind, the air within the body, and the ether, which is the shelter of the body, come from his navel. The holes of the body means ears, holes, these holes here, and some down here. Mahendra, the king of heaven, was generated from the prowess of the Lord. The demigods were generated from the mercy of the Lord. Lord Shiva was generated from the anger of the Lord, and Lord Brahma from his sober intelligence. The Vedic mantras were generated from the bodily holes of the Lord, and the great saints and Prajapatis were generated from his genitals. Prajapati means the personalities in the universe that are entrusted to produce a lot of children, a lot of population, and Krishna conscious population. May that supremely powerful Lord be pleased with us. The goddess of fortune was generated from his chest, the inhabitants of Pitraloka from his shadow, religion from his bosom, and irreligion, the opposite of religion, from his back. The heavenly planets were generated from the top of his head, and the apsaras from his sense enjoyment. May the supremely powerful personality of Godhead be pleased with us. The Brahmanas and Vedic knowledge come from the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Kshatriyas and bodily strength come from his arms. The Vaishyas and their expert knowledge in productivity and wealth come from his thighs, and the Shudras, who are outside of Vedic knowledge, come from his feet. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is full in prowess, be pleased with us. Greed is generated from his lower lip, affection from his upper lip, bodily luster from his nose, animalistic lusty desires from his sense of touch, Yamaraj from his eyebrows, and eternal time from his eyelashes. May that Supreme Lord be pleased with us. And this is the one that has a purport, all learned men say that the five elements, eternal time, fruitive activity, the three modes of material nature, and the varieties produced by these modes are all creations of Yoga Maya. Yoga Mind. I came the other day. Go through it. This material world is therefore extremely difficult to understand, but those who are highly learned have rejected it. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the controller of everything, be pleased with us. Purport. The word Durvi Vayam is very important in this verse. No one can understand how everything is happening in this material world by the arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through his material energies. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 10, Maya Jakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. Everything is actually happening under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This much we can learn. But how it is happening is extremely difficult to understand. We cannot even understand how the affairs within our body are systematically taking place. The body is a small universe. And since we cannot understand how things are happening in this small universe, how can we understand the affairs of the bigger universe? Actually, this universe is very difficult to understand, yet learned sages have advised, as Krishna has also advised, that this material world is Dukalayam Ashashvatam. In other words, it is a place of misery and it's temporary.
What?
And it is temporary. It's a place of, well, actually says it is a place of misery and temporality. That's what it says. One must give up this world and go back home, back to the personality of Godhead. Materialists may argue, here's the argument, quote, if this material world and its affairs are impossible to understand, how can we reject it? End quote. The answer is provided by the word Prabhu Jai Shri Bodhitai, Shri Radha Braja Bihari, Jagannath, Balaram, Lady Subhadra, Shigiri Prahlad Maharaj Ki. The answer is provided by the word Prabhupada. Prabhupadam. We have to reject this material world because it is rejected by those who are learned in Vedic wisdom. Even though we cannot understand what this material world is, we should be ready to reject it in accordance with the advice of learned persons, especially the advice of Krishna. Krishna says, Mamupecha punarjanma dukalayam shashvatam natnuvanti mahatmana sangsidding paramam gata. Quote, after attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, which they have attained because they have attained the highest perfection. Bhagavad Gita chapter 8, verse 15. One has to return home back to Godhead, for this is the highest perfection of life. To go back to Godhead means to reject this material world. Although we cannot understand the functions of this material world and whether it is good for us or bad for us, in accordance with the advice of the Supreme Authority, we must reject it and go back home, back to Godhead. Om Jnana Timiranda Shakana Chana Shamakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, material world is the Kalayam Shashvatam. Material world of the Kalayam Shashvatam means it is miserable and it is temporary. Actually, a lot of the misery is because it is temporary, because you can't permanently enjoy anything. And the material world is made that way. There's a saying, you should not try to fix something which is not broken. Huh? If you have a ceramic bowl and it's sitting there and it's in good shape, then why are you going to try to fix it? It's not broken. So in the same way, the material world, we can say there are so many miseries here. It's a fact. There are a lot of problems in the material world. And a lot of this is based on the fact that it's temporary. So you can't enjoy anything permanently. And there it's full of miseries, which is supposed to be. So the material world is not broken. The material world is just exactly what it's supposed to be, right? The material world is the suffering and birth and death and all the different things that go on in this world. The material world is supposed to be like that. Our eternal life is not supposed to be like that, but the material world is supposed to be like that. It's a place of misery. It's temporary. You can't enjoy it for very long, and the more you try to enjoy it, the more you suffer. But that doesn't mean it's broken. So when atheistic people and scientists, material scientists that don't understand this knowledge, they may say, okay, we are going to stop. We're working very hard, and we're going to stop all disease. Gradually, we'll stop. There will be no more disease in the world. They say, but the longer they try, every time they can get rid of some disease, something else pops up. Sometimes sometimes medicines that are meant to give you relief from one disease actually increase that disease. And sometimes you have a person has cancer, say, and they have some medicine and it gives them a lot of relief from the pain that causes from that disease. But the medicine itself, although it relieves the pain, it increases the disease. So you have a choice. You either suffer the pain, or you suffer the increased disease, which also causes you more trouble. But so the material world, in so many ways, we may try to fix it, make it very nice, make it something that's very pleasant to be in, but it's not made for that, and we'll never be able to enjoy the material world. You can't do it. You can't enjoy anything very well in this material world because it's temporary. Even if you're rich, you have all kinds of money. You can supposedly do anything you want. You can buy anything you want like that, but it's temporary. And if you have money, you're probably in anxiety about who's going to steal my money, who's going to take it away, who's going to cheat me. Is this person actually my friend, or are they just trying to take advantage of me? Like that. So even if you have so-called good karma, it's still problematic in the material world. Okay, so we all have experience of this, but the point here is that this material world is meant to be a place of misery. So we don't want to concentrate too much on trying to fix things up, fix the material world so there's no more problem, no more misery. Our real business is to, as Srila Prabhupada says, make the best use of a bad bargain. And what is the bad bargain? The material body, the material world that this body is in. So many problems with it. But make the best use of it. What's the best use of it? Best use of the body, or the material situation that we're in, the best use is what? is to use it 100% in the service of Lord Krishna and become Krishna conscious and never take another birth in this material world. That's the best use of it. And anyone who has a human body has that opportunity. Everyone who has a human body has that opportunity. If we have if we had, or those souls that have animal bodies, plant bodies, these are all material bodies also. This is all life. There's a soul. Anywhere where there's growth, reproduction, dwindling, dying, it means there's a soul there. But only in the human form of life do we have that opportunity to do something, to become Krishna conscious. The animals can't do that. You don't see any of the neighborhood cats and dogs coming and sitting down here to hear the Srimad-bhagavatam Class, right? If they did come in, we'd probably chase them out because dogs have no business inside the temple. But they wouldn't come in here to hear the Srimad-bhagavatam Class. They have no interest. The trees outside, I'm sure they're getting some benefit, but they don't really have the ability to understand the Srimad-bhagavatam Class. But the soul is there, so they're getting some benefit. But they cannot do anything to help themselves as far as becoming Krishna conscious, like that. So the emphasis here, these last several verses, emphasis in what Srila Prabhupada gave us, was to utilize all of our time as far as possible until the end of our lives, utilize it in the Lord's service. Sometimes people say, we talk about Vedic culture, and good things about Vedic culture. But Vedic culture, we in this material society, and even within ISKCON, within what we're doing, we are not really following Vedic culture per se. We are taking advantage and learning and progressing based on it's basically the essence, the perfection of the Vedic culture. But we're not trying to live Vedic culture. Vedic culture means varnashram. Vedic culture means every person that is born was born that birth was given intentionally, and there was austerities and sacrifices, different things done to help their child who would come to be a good person. That's the science of when you're conceiving a child. Srila says we should not have children like the cats and the dogs. No distinction. Any dog will go to any dog. Any cat will go to any cat, and they don't distinguish. There's no distinction. It's just it feels good, do it. Sense gratification. Yeah. So, but we have human bodies, so we should not. Many people do, but we should not. If we are in a position a married couple and want to have children, it should be that purpose, having children. And there's something called Garbhodan sanskara. There are many sanskaras. Wedding, marriages are also sanskaras. There are many sanskaras. One of them is called Garbhodan sanskara, which means that before having sex to have children, of course, then you do something to help fix your mind very much on Krishna, so that the child, the soul that comes because of that connection. The soul that comes will have the same consciousness as that of the father and the mother. So, because there are many souls out there, but the one that will come and also you become, you're born and develop like that, will be that soul will be attracted by the consciousness of the husband and wife, or the father and the mother of that child at the moment of the conception. That's the system. And in ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada, for that purpose, Srila Prabhupada said, so when husband and wife are planning on having children, they find the time in the cycle when it's most likely for the woman to become pregnant, and they before actually having sex for that purpose, they should chant the Hare Krishna mantra 50 rounds. 50 rounds. You can 50 rounds on that. Not regularly, but at that time. 50 rounds. So you can imagine if you spent the whole day chanting Hare Krishna, concentrating on japa, and then try to have a child, then your consciousness will be pretty Krishna conscious, and that will attract the proper kind of soul. That was Srila Prabhupada's system, like that.
Srila Prabhupada wrote that?
He gave that instruction. Yes.
So if you don't plan on having children, you should be brahmachari.
Either brahmachari, either actually not married, or if you are married and don't want to have children, it's also a possibility. Then if there's no desire for marriage, then there should be no sex, even if married.
So if you're married, just to have sex and not have children, that is not according to the Dharma.
That's correct. That is correct. Okay. That is correct. Vedic, it's 8:30 now. Okay. Which means we're supposed to do lamps at the end too, but
also then homosexuality is sinful.
Yes, actually it is, because homosexuality is a problem. And sometimes the question comes out: well, can anyone become Krishna conscious? Anyone can take up the path. I'll try to be quick on this because of the time. Anyone can take up the path, scientifically speaking. It starts with Shraddha. So if you have a little Shraddha means faith.
Oh yeah.
Shraddha. So you have a little faith. You have to have some faith that leads to go to the Hare Krishna temple and say, maybe there's something that'll be good for me here. So some faith. Okay. And if you come to the temple, then you get in contact. The next stage is sadhu sangha, or the association of devotees. So if you're associating with devotees, next thing you'll end up doing some service. Sitting and hearing Srimad-bhagavatam Class is also a service. So so Shraddha, sadhu sangha, then bhajana kriya, which means devotional service. But then comes the anartha nivritti. Anartha nivritti means that you have to, there's certain bad things that have to be given up if you're doing them because they're unfavorable for spiritual life. So that basically means the four regular principles. And so homosexuality you mentioned. So the problem in homosexuality is the sexual part of the homosexuality. Okay, so that becomes difficult because you cannot, so illicit, proper sex can only be had if you're really between a man and a woman, because it's for the purpose of having children, which can't happen in homosexuality.
So
We started 10 minutes late because of the creating of the deities was late. I'll be finishing up quick.
So sex even with a heterosexual couple is not according to Dharma. The purpose is just to have sexual pleasure.
If that's the only purpose and the intention is not to be, no intention of having children, yeah, that's true. And so anyway, that's the idea in the homosexual. So anyone can get a lot of benefit from the still doing devotional service, chanting Hare Krishna, hearing like that, but there will always be a block towards becoming fully Krishna conscious, because we've got to give up certain things. You have to accept certain things. You have to give up certain things. And the problem is not that two men live together or that two women live together. We can have many, in the ashram you get many brahmacharis living together, but there's no sexual contact. The same thing with the ladies. You can have many living together, but there's nothing on that level. So basically in homosexuality, the same rule applies to anyone, and because anyone else, if they don't follow the regular principles, they can chant Hare Krishna for thousands of lifetimes, but if they don't eventually give up the sinful activities, then the chanting will not give the desired result. Any quick questions?
You mentioned that don't try to fix whatever is not broken.
Don't. If something's not broken, don't try to fix it.
And in regards to the material world, but we have so many activists, philanthropists who are trying to fix the world. And
Yeah.
Well, what they do? They just gaining some good karma just by doing.
Well, it's actually good for them, which is another whole subject. There's several verses in Bhagavad Gita that actually we'll bring it up the next time. It's good for them, but ultimately what they're doing is not really fixing the problem.
Because the problems, they're still here.
Yeah, the problem is we want to get out of the material world. We should want to get out, not just try to make it a good place. We should try to make if everyone became Krishna conscious, the world would be the best it could possibly be. Even if 1%, Srila Prabhupada said, became Krishna conscious, then the whole world would change.
I would say that if the material world is by nature unfixable, why set your hopes on fixing it?
That's correct. So we shouldn't try to fix it. We shouldn't try to figure out how to become free from all the miseries. We should try to become Krishna conscious and transcend it and not have to take another birth in the material world. Okay. I have to stop right now. Other services are needed now. So we'll end here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.